Last we left off, the party arrived in the Wuyun Gates, the formidable border city and wall that separates the Empire from the Menagerie Coast, ruled by the Consortium. Seeking transport to Nicodranus, the group ventured to the heights of the gorge, where the city's shops and airships' docks awaited. Their ascent was by way of a massive mechanical elevator, eaved upwards by two large automatons pulling on colossal chains. Halfway up, disaster struck. An explosive malfunction caused one automaton to collapse onto the elevator deck, rendering it lifeless. As the platform hung motionless, Syranos inquired with the machine's engineers, while Zenesha carried Buddy around like a princess. An intern mentioned the incident was unprecedented and speculated about the aerial ley lines powering the machinery. Syranos, now wary, demanded to speak with the intern's supervisor. Chief Arcane Engineer Bortash appeared, and the conversation turned to the Cult of the White Skull with suspicions of their involvement. Bortash revealed his own role in dismantling the synthetic ley lines across the new empire after the events in Icehaven and Comorda. As the dialogue continued, it became clear that the Cult of the White Skull was tampering with natural ley lines, deepening the party's concerns. Amidst the escalating malfunctions, Buddy suggested ensuring the children's safety. With the chief engineer's blessing, Buddy and others began escorting them. Amid the chaos, Buddy heroically transported all 7 children to safety by carrying them with flight to the top of the elevator. After collecting and flying upwards with one of the parents that agreed to guard the children at the top of the elevator, tragedy struck, as both Buddy and the woman he was carrying came crashing back down to the elevator, killing her instantly. Arni's attempt to revive her was thwarted by a ravenous and malevolent force that seized her soul, leaving it lost. Deeply distraught by this, Syranos and Arni both lashed out at those around them, while Buddy withdrew into isolation in the cart. As the elevator finally began to move again, the group was instructed not to leave, and at the top, they were detained by the city watch and escorted to the watch post for interrogation. Under the effects of a zone of truth, revelations surfaced for many, raising more questions than answers.
And we come now to the point at which the interrogations ended. And each of you sitting alone, entirely, in your rooms, as after your interrogations were completed, you were left in there. And the ones taking your reports stepped away. A good amount of time passes before any of you are interacted with again. Good 15 minutes. It's hard to tell with those of you whose interrogations were a bit shorter, if maybe some of the others are just taking a little bit longer, or if there's some kind of deliberation taking place. What would any of you be doing during that time? If there's some kind of action you'd want to take.
Was Zenesha allowed to keep her mask on?
You were, yes.
Well, waiting so long, she would have been bored. So she would have probably taken her mask off and just started carving into the desk. Just random doodles.
Okay. What? Give me a description of some of these random doodles.
Probably various weapons. She'll probably try and carve out the design for the White Skull again.
Okay, so like a middle school kid drawing swords in their notebook.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. You're scraping at the desk with the horns of your mask. Okay. Yeah. Just roll a performance check because I want to see how grandiose this is.
It's a nat 20. It's a 24.
There, over the course of these 15 minutes, you say, "Oh, I get bored after a while." It takes like 20 seconds for you to get bored. So, over the course of the entire 15 minutes, there's these large sweeping lines, and there's sweeping camera shots of sawdust flying up through the air as you scrape the mask against the top of the wooden table. And in the end is a beautiful mural of all mechanisms of warfare and killing. You're quite proud of yourself.
That's amazing.
Arni, as you're left alone, stewing, I won't ask you to reveal anything from your interrogation, but what would the outward presentation of what you feel look like right now?
Arni is visibly troubled and very restless, is pacing back and forth.
Okay.
And can't sit still. And if there is a window at all, he would be walking back and forth, looking out the window, pacing back to the door, and staring down at the floor, back and forth and back and forth.
As a note, there are no windows in these rooms. They're not lightless. They are lit by hooded lanterns that are powered by arcane means, but they are enclosed and inner rooms for this guard post. At a point after some waiting and some miraculous artwork, all of the doors simultaneously open. At least the ones that hold those of your party. And you are all gestured forward to be able to exit the interrogation hall. Nothing is being said to you at this point. But as you all step forward into your respective doorways, you do see each other. You see Basil off to what would have been the far right back room. Arni, the very first door on the left, with everyone else interspersed between. And as you each look around at each other, Arni's level of nervousness is noticeable by everyone. And I'd like everyone to make a perception check.
Okay. Blow.
Minus me.
I got a nat 20.
11.
Okay.
18.
Perception. I would like to note that this actually works well for me, that Syranos is extremely confused when he comes out.
Understandable.
So that
Which does explain your lack of attention.
Yeah.
But Basil, there's a good number of times where, as this campaign has progressed, there's been specific thresholds for certain things. This kind of ties in to the discussion you had and what you noticed on Buddy before. I'm going to send it to you privately.
Secrets are no fun.
Metagaming check.
After being given a moment to gain your bearings and look to each other, you are prompted to exit those rooms and go back out to the entry chamber, the guard post, where you do see entering at this time to a interrogation hall opposite of yours a number of other individuals. Both the intern and the chief arcane engineer, Gortash, seem to be entering, as well as what you believe to be some of the people that were on the elevator on the other side. The room is silent at this point, and everyone seems to just be waiting.
Couldn't say my name, you guys.
What?
I couldn't say my name.
That's interesting.
Or where I am from.
As you say that, Syranos, a couple of the guards that are in this room, and there's, like 12. It's a 30-foot or so wide room on each side with some desks, chairs, and the like. So it's not necessarily crowded, but, it's like at occupancy. As you say that, a couple of them kind of just look at you just a little confused, is all.
Yeah, they're not alone. It's obvious on my face as well.
Yep.
Are we free to exit the building now?
The captain that was interviewing you, Arni, steps forward up to you from having a side conversation with one of the lieutenants and says, no, not at this time. We ask that you please remain for the conclusion of the final reports there, the other hall, and then all of those that conducted reports will deliberate. We
Understood.
appreciate your patience.
But until then, we are allowed to mingle.
Of course, understand that, there are those in this room that are listening.
Understood.
Seems he says that not only in, hey, you're being listened to, but like almost for your protection. Would anyone else be looking to communicate with each other or looking to do anything before time passes?
Hey, buddy. Are you okay?
I believe I will be. Throughout my travels, I've seen a lot of death. It's just hard when it's something that I thought I had control over. But I don't. But I didn't, I should say.
Do you need like a healing potion or something?
No, I will be fine.
Okay. I'll trust you.
I'm gonna find a spot to sit, and I'm just gonna start carving out a rune on each of my bracers.
Okay. Message me the intention with that. If there is a specific one. If you're just doodling, like Zenesha, then it is what it is. But, time again passes. Again, another 15 minutes or so. and effectively the whole room, again, it's in silence. You do notice that some of the individuals who were taking reports are beginning to communicate with each other in very, very hushed voices. But the
I'm going
door
to-
does... Go ahead.
Gesture to Syranos to meet me at one of the side rooms.
Like just off to the side, because we're in the room with like these guards and stuff. Like just
Because are there the cells? Like, are there still the cells?
The interrogation halls are shut. I mean, you're welcome to go attempt to open one. You muted.
Yeah, that's what, like one of the rooms that we all came out of.
Okay. As you go to open the door, one of the guards does speak up and he goes, Captain, sir, you're welcome to step into the hallway there, but we cannot have you closing the door right now.
Just a moment of
Of course,
privacy.
you may
just the
converse.
two of us.
You may converse,
I'm
but the door must stay open.
Yeah, follow him. Hey, what's up?
Well, now is this just the two of us?
Given that, within 30 or 40 feet of you, the entirety of the rest of all the people are
Yeah.
there. But
I
yes,
imagine we're just close, like
right.
leaning into each other for.
It wouldn't be
Small
hard at this
talk.
point to have a private conversation.
Okay. So these white skull buggers have been working with this betrayer god Igandu.
Yeah, I'm well aware.
And that woman's soul that I tried to bring back, it was, there was that presence that I felt, which I'm sure it was that being of hunger, Igandu, that betrayer god. But then, while we were back at the wagon, I was meditating and I felt Cord's presence on me, and I asked him why was it that I couldn't bring that woman's soul back? And the answer I got was because of the betrayer. And at the time I thought he was referring to the betrayer god. But in the zone of truth, when I was asked if we were the cause of that, if all of us were innocent of that woman's death, I was unable to say that. And I realized that Cord was not referring to the betrayer god, but rather there's someone among us.
We definitely need to talk about this more. when we're out of here. Is that? Oh. What? Are you sure that's what he meant? 'Cause- And I look back at everyone. I don't see it. But I believe you. Zone of Truth and your God. Like, I believe you. It's just, it's hard. It's hard to take in. I wasn't able. I tried to admit it, but I couldn't.
There's a lot going on and it scares me.
Me too.
We've got to get down to the bottom of it.
Goodness.
Let's get back.
Yeah.
And Syranos, the point of how the Zone of Truth worked with you, and for him to say these things is something that weighs on you as you begin what realistically is a very short walk back to the group and through the door, but feels like a lifetime.
I imagine in this very short, long walk, Syranos is immediately contemplating and trying to run through all the past experiences he's had with this group. Like just rundowns to try and see if he can remember anything that stood out that maybe he missed in the moment, and just a memory run because he's trying to find something because he believes Arni. Like, he believes him. But he has
You
no
do step through the
reason-
doorway. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, he has no
No,
reason
you're
to
good.
not believe anyone as far as he knows. So it's that extra bit of difficulty on top. And that's it.
You do finally step through the doorway, and it's like stepping into a different world again. Buddy, I need you to make the roll that we talked about. And I need, again, everyone to make a perception check.
Okay. I got a 5. Not 1.
Okay. Totally makes sense, given, again, having the world thrust upon you. Basil, you already noticed this a short while ago. But Arni, you pick up on it as well. That, Buddy sustained injury there in the fall. Skin ruptured. His own blood spilled. Spattered with the blood of the woman who fell. He's a little cleaner now. And many of his wounds seem to have knit themselves shut. The door to the other side opens, and filing out, you see Chief Arcane Engineer Gortash, the intern, and 3 witnesses who just kind of have a bit of a somber look to them. And Chief Engineer Gortash is immediately flanked by 2 guards who pull out shackles, attaching them to his wrists, and leading him deeper into the guard post, with no words stated. Buddy, the lieutenant that performed your report kind of steps forward to the group and says, "Now, while, of course, some fault has been levied due to his requirement to maintain responsibility for the operation of that platform, that is not necessarily the end of possible responsibility being held by anyone here for what happened. You will all remain with a reduced guard, as many of us are going to be going to deliberate in another chamber. There are meager foods available if you require them. Buddy, I imagine you're probably feeling fine, but if anyone requires anything, you can ask any of the guards that are here. They will retrieve that for you. Does anyone have any questions for me before our reporters go to deliberate?
Any news on the child's father?
Well, I
Maybe.
was not, I wasn't out here while any news like that would have been discovered, but the moment I know, I'll let you know.
It would just be a comfort to know, is all.
I can understand.
Is this lieutenant one we talked to before? Like, do we recognize her? Is it just a...
No,
Okay.
you don't.
Okay.
She seemed to have already been here in the guard post, as a great number of these guards were. When you guys were brought back, there were the two guards that were just already at the top of the platform. Another 8 or 9 showed up with a captain
Oh, okay.
to escort you here, and then in total, you've probably seen 20 or 25 different faces at some point in
Yeah.
here. The other witnesses are let out the front door, and they go along their way. And it is at this point that an individual from the side that you guys were interrogated in comes back and says, "Who was in that room?" And Zenesha, you recognize pretty quickly that it was you that was in that room.
Did you find my artwork? It's gorgeous, isn't it?
He kind of just looks at you like, I hope you recognize that you're gonna be charged for that. It's vandalism.
I think it's artwork. You should put it in a museum.
We'll handle that later. I'm tired. And he goes and walks past you.
That's amazing.
Kind of, you see him slap his hands together and sawdust falls off of it like he was brushing something.
Buddy softly chuckles as he's finishing up his left arm wound.
Seeing the sawdust being brushed off his hands, I'm gonna turn to Zenesha and be like, "How much of the death did you carve?"
All of it. I was in there
Which
alone
is-
for so
which is true.
long. I was bored, but it's
Oh.
gorgeous. I wish
Ah.
everyone could see it.
I wonder if they'll let us.
Should you want to go ask?
Maybe. You want to come with me?
Yeah, let's go.
Can we ask?
Okay, so the two of you walking up to a guard.
Hey, I know he just addressed my friend here about their desk carving. Can I see it?
And the guard that's just standing over that hallway, not the one in the wet and inspected the rooms, just says, "Sure." And cracks the door open a little bit more, and you're allowed to walk to.
I just want
room.
to peek in and take a look.
Yeah, you go in and look at it, and Zenesha, despite having the mask back on, is hopping behind you, just excited for you to see it. And I mean, there it is. It's like I said, it's about the same style as a middle schooler drawing swords in their notebook, but it's actually, especially considering how little time she had. It's pretty good.
Like, I can recognize what's there.
Yeah, you can see a halberd, you can see an axe, you can see the swords, the spears, a bow and arrow. Like,
Oh my goodness,
it's pretty
Zenesha.
good.
I didn't know you could draw.
I didn't either. It just kind of happened.
It's amazing. This could come in handy. He's gonna lock that away. Let's go back.
Maybe it's gonna help with my tattoo skills.
So now, just
Oh, no.
so you're clear, Syranos thinks you're so good at drawing. So good. Like, he is just impressed.
Just don't ever roll a not natural 20, Zenesha.
When having to draw again, because if anyone asks
Yeah, exactly.
someone, I'm going to immediately point you out.
You step back into the main entry chamber, are welcomed back, and the doors again cracked behind you. The doors aren't like shut, but they're pulled, mostly closed. And again, time is going to pass unless someone would like to accomplish or communicate anything.
Hey, buddy. How are you? How are you feeling since your tumble?
A little stiff and sore, but I think I'll be okay.
That was quite a fall.
And it's probably one of the higher places I've fallen from. Definitely.
Seemed to come out of it all right.
Feels like it. Maybe that interrogation helped out a little bit. Not sure how, but feels like it.
So, haven't had a chance to ask, but what exactly happened up there with that woman?
Fourth person I have told you this. I think it has something to do with that lich fight the other day. I'm tired. I thought I had more time, but I guess that was more something.
So, did you just run out of energy, or did you like black out?
One thing I knew, I was getting the kids up just fine. And then about 20 or so feet away from the top, carrying that woman up, my wings just disappeared. I'm not sure what happened, other than being tired from that fight is all I can think of. Maybe I just wasn't ready for the full time frame of my ability to fly.
So the magic just fizzled.
I guess so. I don't know much about magic. I just know I'm able to do it sometimes.
Well, I'm glad to see you're doing all right.
I wish I could do more for the little girl.
Yeah.
Maybe after all
Find
is
her
said and
father.
done, make sure they get the horses. She gets the horses. I'm gonna
After this
walk over and
conversation,
grab a drink.
go ahead.
I'm just gonna walk over and grab
Oh.
whatever drink they have.
And there's just water available. No, free ale at the entry station of the guards. Again, time passes after the room falls silent for a short while. 15 minutes, then another 5. And finally the deliberation chamber that many of the reporters stepped into opens, and they all come pouring out. Looking around, they all kind of look back and forth. The captain steps forward and says, "Anyone who is not of the proper clearance level, and you would already know if you are, leave now." And you see about half of the guards that stayed behind with you, which is about 7 or so, kind of just move and go down a hallway that turns deeper into the guard station and leave. Looking around. Where's Jenkins? Buddy looking to the lieutenant who did your report. "Where's Jenkins?" And she goes, "Oh, I thought he wasn't of the proper clearance." "No, he very much is. He had direct confrontation with the Cult of the White Skull. Where is he?" She says, "I can go look for him if you'd like." It's all right. To everyone here, there is reason to believe that the Cult of the White Skull is, if not directly, at least tangentially related to this event. There are a great number of circumstances that lead to others being held responsible in different ways for different failures. Captain Arni Stormborn, you are not being held responsible for your inability to revive the woman. I'm certain that this comes as no true shock, though this hopefully provides a little bit of solace, given everything that transpired. To the half-elf, half you don't know, that also doesn't know his name, Syranos, you bear some responsibility for proposing actions that stood in contest against standing instructions. We recognize the intent. I don't know that I wouldn't have attempted the same, given access to the abilities and individuals that you have. All of that was taken into account, as well as your concern that was expressed to Chief Engineer Gortash that the Cult of the White Skull, perhaps some kind of activity by them, was imminent. Taking all of those things into account, a 50 gold fine is what will be levied, as well as a mark on record for your involvement in the incident. Can you agree to these terms?
Yes, sir.
If you would please, and one of the guards walks up to you with a chest. Seems they expect that now.
Right away.
Okay, go ahead and deduct the 50 gold. Basil, given your testimony as well as those others that corroborated yours, we hold that you have no responsibility in regards to the incident. Zenesha, much the same for you. Buddy. While we recognize again your intent, you must also understand that without your actions directly, regardless of how you were instructed, regardless of authorization given by Gortash, your actions led directly to the death of an innocent individual, a mother and a wife. And you hold a good deal of responsibility for that. And at this point, Buddy, the lieutenant who did your report, steps forward and says, Captain, I'm not so certain that it really is that simple. I understand, and yes, I raised my concerns in deliberation, but to imprison him would be a fallacy of logic. It just doesn't make sense. Lieutenant, I specifically instructed that your dissent was noted and that the things that would be brought forward to these individuals were at my discretion in finality. She hesitates there for a moment and then steps back again. Buddy, you will be officially tried for the crime of negligent homicide.
Negligent? I was doing something while you guys were sitting on your butts.
Buddy, that's not helping.
I'll be happy to give you all the gold I have. I've already given away the horses to that little girl, plus some more. But that is no excuse for a trial.
Seems he's determining his words for a moment.
I'm gonna put my hand on Buddy's shoulder and be like, we're gonna do everything we can for you, bud. We're gonna get out of this. It's gonna be okay.
He leans back up and says, do you have any connection to legal counsel?
Do I look like I do?
Captain, if I might ask, are there matters that came to light in interrogation that are of weight that we are not aware of here? Because to us, it seems like this is a pretty cut and dry case of attempting to save a person's life.
Do you hold soldiers negligent for protecting their for not protecting citizens of their kingdom in a war? Or if they fail to save someone from a mass murder?
Soldiers are contracted and thus protected in certain ways, if they should fail. If they are truly negligent, they're likely to be hanged. But I recognize your point. I understand your concern. The point of all of this stands that you were all given instructions to wait. And ultimately, while in hindsight, if you had, the elevator would have regained motion and taken everyone safely to the top.
Do you
No.
know how to see the future? Is that actually what would have happened? Or could the wait might have made it worse?
It is a fair point, buddy. It is. Perhaps negligent homicide is too harsh. And the lieutenant, again, who offered your report, steps forward and says, Captain, it's as I said. These individuals, they've all stated, or at least as a collective, that they're in the process of investigating some serious matters. And everyone who hears of the proper clearance, they are tasked with hunting the cult of the White Skull. They're not the enemy. And even if they've failed in some way here, you have to understand that when someone is undertaking a task like that, when a whiff of enemy activity is around an event like this, you can't stand by. You can't just do nothing. There's lives at stake.
Does Syranos recognize this lieutenant that's speaking up to her commander? Or was Syranos stepped away before everyone else, correct? For the reports? Or was it kind of all at the
I mean,
same
she
time?
would have just been in the room when everyone entered the guard station. Because all
But
of the
wouldn't have stood
report
out.
takers... Yeah, not necessarily. You probably would have noticed, oh, that's a lieutenant. And that's kind of the extent of it.
Can I kind of insight? Because I feel like Syranos would be confused as to why this person would be talking up to their superior in this
Yeah, go ahead.
station of command. I'm all for, like, he wants to keep Buddy, but he's just like confused, like, why are you talking out of place, you know? That's just 12.
12. Okay. That on top of your passive perception.
Passive is 14.
Mm-hmm.
During this, Buddy's just gonna take off his cloak and just throw it in whatever trash bin's there because it's not useful anymore.
Yeah.
Not that it was very much useful in the first place.
Well, yeah, cloak of billowing. Well, you ask Arni, it's super useful. But yes, now that the enchantment has been rent, cloak
Why
goes
could
into the trash.
butterflies come out of mine?
Oh,
That's what that wild magic effect was back at
yeah,
Allfield.
yeah. I'll tell you what. Let us adjourn for now. Do not leave the city, buddy. While you may not be guilty of murder, you still must be held accountable for what has happened.
I'm just gonna look at him with a with a facial expression saying, "Yeah, sure, whatever," but also showing remorse at the same time.
After just a moment of everyone kind of looking at each other, the captain finally just shakes his head and waves. And the two guards that were manning the front door, double door, open it wide, and the pathway to the outside is available to you all.
Before going, I want to gather my belongings. All of it.
Of course. And all of your weapons and anything that looked dangerous to them, aside from your mask, Zenesha, are kind of just all, propped up against the wall right next to the door. It wasn't ceremonious or locked away by any means. Sashem, it's at this point you see, after having been forced to wait outside the guard post, your group exiting the doorway.
Actually, before we exit, I want to see. I want to catch Arni and be like, come with me for a second, and I want to try to catch the captain before they go off.
Okay. He is kind of just hanging out in the middle of the room still, just kind of turning to talk to a number of the guards. Another lieutenant that looks like it's the one that took report from Gortash, and two lower ranked individuals. He's got his back to you generally right now, while your party is walking out.
It's the commander, correct? Or was it Captain Farah?
You see the red cloak.
Oh, okay, yeah. Captain Farah, is it?
Yes. What can I do for you?
Can I borrow you for a second? I have a concern. I know there's lots of them, I know, but a new one.
And you see that he turns to look to that same lieutenant. And then, of course, off to the side here, please.
Yeah.
And stepping off to the side, again, the door to an interrogation hall is opened, but only stepping in about 5 feet, and then he kind of cracks the door. What can I do for you?
And I would like to have had Arni with me. That's why I.
Arnie's with you. Okay.
With me. If
okay.
You're okay
yeah, the
with
two
that.
of you. Yeah, he would be. You're in the middle of a guard post. You attack somebody, you're gonna get fucking massacred.
Now, Captain, I'm saying this quieter, obviously, because I just want him to hear it. I don't like... First off, no one likes this situation. However, I felt compelled to question the interaction I saw out there with your lieutenant. And
I don't understand what your concern is.
And I turned to Arni. Are you able to detect manipulations that may be of an arcane variety?
Tomorrow I can't. Yes, tomorrow I should be able to. Unfortunately, not at this moment.
Now, I knew it odd for a subordinate to question their captain, but right in front of what was happening, What if you just did like a generic dispel? Turning back to Arni again. Like, could you just dispel him? If there's nothing there, nothing's there. I know it's more on you, but
Are you talking about the captain or
yes,
on
the
the
captain.
lieutenant? If I receive the captain's permission, I'm not going to incite anything.
And the captain says, I am uncertain of the concern, but if you see fit.
I will cast a dispel magic.
And as he's doing that, I
Now
know I
this
saw
is-
something, and I trust my gut. That's all I've got here. I'm sorry, Captain.
Are you sure you want me to use this on the captain?
Yeah.
Okay. I will cast a dispel magic on the captain.
And as you cast this, this almost like static electricity, kind of this cloud ejects from your hand and disperses over him. And while it's dispersing over him, he says, I truly don't understand the concern. And as it completes the spell, what the fuck? And he immediately turns and ranks the door open.
Oh, I think I was right, Arni, because he's not paying attention to us anymore. I'm sure, but.
And at this point, Buddy, Zenesha, and Basil, you're kind of, like halfway out the door. Sashem, you see them coming out the door.
Captain, where are you
And
going?
It's like, I need to figure out what the hell's going on. He slams the door open and says, Lieutenant! Where are you? Where is the lieutenant? And everyone's kind of just like, quiet. I need Basil, Zenesha, and Buddy to roll a perception check.
$13 for me.
Basil with a 21. Basil, you're the one that notices, kind of as your attention moves away from just the group of guards. That one lieutenant, the woman who, stood up to Captain, kind of slips behind another person and then just... it's gone.
She was just there. Now she's not.
The captain, he's breathing heavy. And then he turns his head, and Buddy, he's looking right at you. Who are you?
You just addressed me a moment ago. You know my name.
I don't mean your name. That was not my real lieutenant. Who are you?
I
Wait.
only just met her today.
Captain, what are you talking about?
I've been under magical influence for well over a day now.
Oh.
I've only just met that lieutenant today, or non-lieutenant, I guess. So I don't know who that was. I've been with these guys since a few weeks now.
He reaches behind his back and pulls out of a pouch another white orb and taps it, and a zone of truth is emitted. Who will be submitting and who will be resisting? You don't have to say. Make it a
Okay.
private roll and tell me
Oh.
in player channels.
A private roll.
What's the save again if we want?
Wisdom. If you're choosing to submit, then you do not need to make a roll. Choosing to attempt to save, just make it privately. And as the decisions are made, he looks around the room holding the orb. He looks at the orb and then just drops it. You choose to resist? Looking at you, buddy.
Not sure why you're needing to do this when I already told you the truth about it. So yeah.
You told someone who does not belong here.
And I said
And
I didn't know that.
I am missing a soldier.
How could he have known?
We haven't even been here a whole day.
You can see it's like, like anime pulsing vein on the forehead. And at this point, his Goliath side is really showing through. It seems like there's about to be a rage at this point.
Oh, I know, Captain. It sounds to me like you may have some issues with your underlings. Like we all mentioned, we just came here today. We don't know anybody inside this town, much less myself. Just met that person earlier.
Who else interacted with this non-lieutenant?
She arrived this morning as a replacement investigator.
Buddy, why don't you just cooperate, please, my friend?
I'm telling the truth. We
Then
came
there
in
shouldn't
from
be
that
any
way.
reason to do so under the zone of truth.
I can speak my mind openly without having to submit to the zone of truth, can't I?
I mean, if he's uncomfortable.
Do you give us reason to doubt you, my friend?
Have I ever given you reason to doubt me? I've had your guys' back this whole time. I've been with you this whole time.
Sashem, at this point. Sorry. Sashem, at this point, you're kind of overhearing this conversation as well, as you've been allowed to step up while Zenesha and Basil have kind of frozen at the door.
I'm gonna push through him and poke my head through the door and try and see what's going on.
I believe you, buddy.
What did you guys do?
It was too quiet. Mike didn't pick it up.
We did our
Well,
best to
thank
save
God.
people. And they're blaming us for trying to save people. And an accident occurred.
I think there's
Okay.
more worry than that right now.
So no good deed goes unpunished, huh?
I think the captain has other concerns, but I don't. I'm really confused here, guys.
How wide does the zone of truth go, Austin?
It's a 20-foot radius, I think, so pretty big. I'll check now.
I just want to know if by stepping in or through the door, if I'm in the zone.
15-foot radius. No, you probably would have been outside it when it was emitted.
Okay. I'm gonna look at
Just as a note.
Zenesha. Yeah. I'm gonna look at Zenesha and be like, was it really a good deed? Why? I mean, what's really going on?
Elevator broke. We were trying to save people. The lady died.
Oh, that's why the line was so long. It was really obnoxious. I mean, if the elevator broke, isn't it their fault?
No, it's the White Skull, but they're blaming Buddy.
Okay, whoa. Okay. Why would the White Skull break an elevator?
I don't think they did it intentionally. They're messing with the ley lines.
Please, I thought we stopped ley lines. Everybody knows about the ley lines, don't they? Didn't Lucinda send out messengers? And I mean, by the time we got to some of these other places, they knew about the ley lines and had already figured it out.
Yeah, but those were the artificial ley lines that they were messing with. And this was a natural ley line that was tampered with.
Oh my gosh, is Quintus okay?
Oh. I mean, we'll have...
Who is Quintus?
I said that out loud, didn't I?
Syranos is going to turn back to him and be like, Quintus is a protector of leyline convergent point. He is an elemental being that we kind of created to protect that convergence point.
Not just that one, all of them. He told us that if there was any danger or any problems, especially because of the cult of the White Skull, that he would reach out to us. That's why I think something's wrong with him, is because he wouldn't do that. I mean, I know it's taken us a long time to get over and get him a friend, but he's not just going to stop his job. Is there a ley lines convergence in this city?
I do not have that kind of knowledge. You'd need to discuss that with scholars. I would like you all to understand the predicament I'm in. You all stand here in defense of one in your party who is accused of a crime, who holds a sword in his hand here in the guard station.
He's holding it out right now?
I mean, it's just, it's being held, but it's like
ready.
At his side,
I just haven't gotten to the point of stowing it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
He says, I am not foolish enough to start a skirmish for something like this.
Buddy, why don't you just please
We don't want that either.
to the zone of truth?
Wait a second, hang on
I need
here.
to say.
Hang on a second.
I haven't put my sword fully away yet because I'd rather not swing it up in fear of that they will think ill. I'd rather wait till we're outside so I can put it on safely.
All right.
You are
Captain,
free to place it on your back.
Okay, Captain, I'm a little
will
new to this
slowly do it.
conversation or this situation, but I would really like a little bit more information on a crime committed, because from what I'm hearing is this is the cult of the White Skull, and you got a bigger problem than whatever this is.
Sashem. Buddy's flight ran out when he was trying to save someone, and he fell with them, and they died.
A woman died.
It was accidental, but it did happen.
Syranos, you submitted to the zone of truth, didn't you?
I did, yes.
As the words, "It was accidental," go to leave your lips, you choke.
It was... And he snaps his vision straight to Buddy.
It was what?
Buddy.
I had believed it was an accident, but I just now couldn't say it. Buddy?
What does that have?
Did you kill that woman?
You see
Wow.
about half of the guards reach for, they're getting their hands on the hilts of their weapons.
Sam's gonna shove past Zenesha and Basil and kind of just jump into the room going, well, I don't know what's going on here. Arni, Syranos, you guys, Buddy, of all people, the one that got mad at me for lying about Mr. Lord Commander and,
You're right.
paying for the hotel.
You're right.
That.
You
Is that
see,
true?
buddy, we have reason now to believe that
No, hold on,
we
Arnie.
have reason
I couldn't say it was an
to be
accident,
concerned.
but we are aware it was very much Cult of the White Skull. So that's maybe why I couldn't say that.
But we have reason enough to be concerned, and I, for one, will not be comfortable until Buddy submits to the zone of truth.
It would help a lot, buddy.
Hang on. What is
Get
the
another
zone
orb.
of truth?
Get another orb. The zone of truth will cause that those that submit to it are compelled to tell only the truth, even
Okay.
sometimes beyond what they know themselves.
So, does it force you to, or everybody in this zone will have to, and they can't get out of it?
He looks, and one of the privates have run off into another room to go get an orb. The zone of truth will emit a field that those within it may choose to attempt to resist it or submit to it. Those that fail to resist it or submit to it, no words that leave their lips can be a lie or a half-truth.
This will be fun. Okay, so you guys are saying, Syranos, Arni, you guys are saying that Buddy is not submitting, right?
Whoa. I mean,
Yeah.
he said he didn't want to. I understand that uncomfortableness.
Okay, he's gonna turn around. Zenesha, did you submit to this?
I tried. I failed.
Yeah, so Zenesha is currently, basically everyone but Buddy is currently under the effect of the zone of the truth right now.
But you still tried to not do it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I get it. I mean, being forced to do something is a little frustrating, and I understand you, Captain, sir, for trying to figure this whole mess out. But the Cult of the White Skull is pretty shaky and let's see, overpowering and a nightmare. Look. I'm with the Forge Force. We've been dealing with this for a good while. We help save Zadash. We've been all over the place and dealing with the White Skull. Okay? So, when it comes to the White Skull, we know them pretty well and their nightmarish ways. So what I would say, who cares what Buddy says if he wants to, if he doesn't want to, because nobody likes to do what they're told. And just ask the other guys to see, is this the Cult of the White Skull? And let them say no. And if they can't say no, then sure, it is the Cult of the White Skull. Can't we do things that way? Haven't you guys ever read in fairy tales when you got to pick between two doors? And then you got one that always lies, and then one always tells the truth. What are you going to do? Let's just use this to our advantage. Everybody learns
He,
this. Isn't
he
this the
leans
kid
forward.
thing?
He leans forward and puts his hand on your shoulder and says, "Shut the fuck up."
Yeah, I figured you'd say that.
The private does return with another orb of truth. Many of you still under the effect, which, as a point of order, when you are already under the effect of the zone of truth, it is extended by a new casting of it, and you do not get to choose to resist again. But
Do I get to choose to resist? Because it's gonna.
you were not in
activate
it, so
Oh,
you could
great.
choose to attempt to resist. Again, he lifts it up. He stares you in the eyes, buddy. You choose to resist?
Buddy, please
And
submit.
Sashem, same for you.
Please reassure all of us, your friends.
I was really hoping I could resist. That would have been so much fun.
Did you fail?
Failed.
That's funny.
4, right? What was it?
Yeah, that's definitely a fail.
Yeah.
So
a
you-
9 total. 9 total.
It's not hard. It's not hard to see that, suddenly Sashem is like, Sashem is under the effects of the zone of truth.
Okay.
Guys, this doesn't
Looking at
feel
Bo-
like the best,
Yeah, and it is an odd sensation, which I don't think I've described kind of exactly how it feels. You understand, but there's kind of like this suppression feeling where you're kind of closed in. You know that feeling when you're like getting a little lightheaded, right? It's kind of that closed in a little bit. So it's not a pleasant thing. It's not something that most people would like willingly subject themselves to on a regular basis. He looks at Buddy holding the orb and says, "Thank you. I can tell that you, this time, did not even attempt to resist. Please, who are you?"
My name is Buddy. Some call me the Tempest.
Do you know that woman who was posing as a lieutenant here in the guard station?
Can I think for a second? I can honestly say, no, I do not.
It seems he's taking some time here to ponder his questions. Looking to you, looking to the rest of the group. To be fair, we have 10 minutes of this. If anyone else would like to be the one to pose a question.
Syranos,
Free to do
how
so.
much money does your family actually have?
I don't know.
You see a little grin on Buddy's face.
Basil, why were you really kicked out of your village?
Oh! As a note, again, you are able to just decide not to speak. But anything you do speak must be truth.
It was a crime for me to stay.
What kind of response is that? Arni, why are you so obsessed with billowing cloaks?
I'm going to override that question with another one for Basil.
It's not so much that I'm obsessed with it. It was because you thought it was so cool the first time I did it.
Okay. I think there's an easy way to hopefully abate your worry here, Captain.
Real quick, let's let Buddy do his question
Oh, I'm sorry.
because he started speaking before you.
He did. You're right. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, we're good.
During our travels, we've gotten to know what we all look like and fight against. You don't move like any Dragonborn I've known. What are you?
It's gonna take a moment to think. Spoke the truth earlier. I am a lesser dragon.
Wait, why are you
What's
talking
that?
about what he looks like? I mean, look at your tail and Zenesha's arm and me!
Hang on, but we know what happened. I'm kind of with Buddy on this. Of course, I don't know what anybody is. So, is there? You guys said that there's lizard people, right?
Yes.
Is that what you were, Basil?
Captain, I know we're getting off topic and we don't have long. I mean, 10 minutes is still decent, but perhaps in order to abate your worries a little more, maybe just ask each of us individually what you intend to ask. That way it's fair for everyone.
Or we could ask Captain. Do you have any ties with the cult of the White Skull?
Only those that are necessary for my investigations to destroy them.
Okay.
Hey.
Just checking, because one of the other captains and the other cities, yeah, bad guy. Total bad guy.
I am aware of the reports of Captain Dimra.
Oh, you know his name! Wow, who sent you that? How much information do you have?
Captain Sashem.
Yeah, but he's not in the Empire. I don't know how much this guy knows.
I thought he aged 5 more years.
Not mentally, apparently.
We still have 5 or 6 minutes.
Let's
Buddy,
abate your worries.
how is it your wounds have healed so fast?
That's a good question.
I was
But I don't know if
given,
that matters.
I was just given some meat during the interrogation. I heal pretty quick with meat.
I have a question for Buddy. Who's the better fighter? You or Zenesha?
Right now, it's up in the air as we're 1-on-1.
I thought the Zone of Truth thing would be worth it.
That's my opinion. That's more of an opinion question.
Okay, I think going down the line is just the only thing that's going to help the captain here. And us as well. Arni, are you part of the cult? Of the White Skull?
You're muted. Oh.
No, I am not.
Sashem, are you part of the cult of the White Skull?
No. But I'm really good at beating the tar out of them. Oh, and Captain, don't put on any of their masks if you ever meet one, okay?
Which brings me to Zenesha. Are you a member of the cult of the White Skull?
Of course not. I'm trying to kill them all.
Captain, do you want to ask me directly?
A question is necessary if you just speak.
I am not a member of the Cult of the White Skull. That is very... Yes, thank you for clarifying that. Basil, are you a member of the Cult of the White Skull?
I am not.
Buddy, are you a member of the Cult of the White Skull?
When he responds, you hear in Draconic. Ki tira vox tepoha ekesto.
Okay, you gonna send that to me?
It's in the D&D chat.
Oh, it is? Okay, alright.
In the
I'm
video.
seeing who else in the room understands Draconic. Not fucking anybody. Wow, those were
Oh,
some
wait a
low
second.
rolls.
Who was learning this thing with Buddy? Wasn't he teaching somebody?
We were both teaching Zenesha a little bit, but it's only been a couple weeks.
Yeah,
So she hasn't learned enough.
I'm doing the translator real quick.
We're both trying to.
Yeah, I know.
I can send you what it actually says. If you want.
No metagaming. I don't want to see it.
I can send it directly to him.
I feel like all of the relevant parties have received a translation.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 second.
Yeah, you're good.
And Basil will respond.
And
You know Draconic as well?
I do.
this is the moment
Okay.
of receiving it, and so I immediately would say this, which I have no problem telling everyone here what that means because it's just his response, his base response, which I say that, and then in common I say it again so we can get out of this.
Zenesha, that's an interesting. Why'd you have to roll that right now? So Zenesha, as you discern that Basil is in fact a blood cursed, which you read about. He's Yuan-Ti. He's related to those that killed your family. You reach out to Orthax to try and make a connection. And that presence comes, and it's not just at the back of your neck, it consumes you entirely. You're not taken away, but you feel Orthax's embrace around you, and a whisper in your ear. You are the one to decide your own vengeance.
When I was asking you up there in the tower that about what it was that happened while that affected you and that woman falling, and you told me about that it was the lich and your wings quit on you and you fell down. I got a strong vibe that there was something that you were telling me that wasn't quite truthful. Can you tell me what it was that you were not being truthful about?
He's gonna think over what Syranos and you and Arni just said. And He just speaks again in Draconic. Vilki zvadre si jahus iskasir ekes tapoha drill dwarf. Oh, let me send that properly.
Yep.
How do I send it? There we go. It's in the.
Just send it.
As he starts kind of grinning towards you, Arni.
All right, who broke Buddy? Because I don't think I've ever seen him
I think
grin like that.
him saying that and that grin, and knowing that Basil speaks as well, I imagine Syranos looking to Basil in this morning, going, and then looking back at Buddy. Please no.
I'm casting it.
Just say no.
Okay. Go ahead and mark off the spell slot. As you... Oh, and also, what level of spell is it?
It's a second level.
Second level. Okay, and I need everybody to make a perception check.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Perception. Okay.
21.
14.
17.
Okay. Everyone. You see on the belt the Buddy wears, it's clad with bone and furs. And off to the side, mixed in, is a small skull. So, Buddy, you are the last to be escorted. You watch as Syranos is escorted by one guard. Zenesha by 3, given her stature. Arni by the captain that escorted you all to the watch post. And around you, again, 3 guards walk alongside you. They lead you to the same corridor. And all of you are, walking through this, maybe 10, 15 seconds apart. Not a huge distance. Basically, you notice just enough that you don't see the door everyone else goes through. You walk into this corridor that has 12 doors, 6 on each side. And the first door on the right, the lieutenant that is guiding you places his hand out, gesturing for you to step through. Please, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I'll step through.
Okay. Stepping through, and he comes and again gestures to a seat that is on a specific side of the table. And looking around this room, it is, it's not lavish by any means, but it's comfortable. It's padded seating. It's a table with stationery, a basin with water to drink. Enough that, you're not going to die in here. Not some interrogation chamber. But when you seat and he sits across from you, one of the guards kind of comes to the corner of the room, like far corner of the room, and just sits with his hands on his, on his waist. The other one locks the door, and then turns to also face you. And this lieutenant, who is a half-elven man, or sorry, no, half-elven woman, actually sits down across for you and says, I am Lieutenant Mendil. I will be conducting the record of your report. I am obligated to inform you that anything that you do wish to say will be used to the full extent of the law to ascertain the cause of this incident, and if necessary, provide legal repercussions. Is that understood?
I'll just nod.
Very well. She opens a drawer and pulls out a box, opening the box, pulls out this kind of like four-pronged stand and places a white orb on it. As she places her hand over it, she says, "This device will emit a zone of truth." Do you know what that is? And Buddy would know what that is. I cannot compel you by force to submit to this. It is your choice to attempt to resist its effects, but try to understand the implication that has for, my perspective of this report. She taps it, and it's like a faint white light fills the room for a moment. Are you going to attempt to resist the spell?
Buddy's gonna try to resist it.
Okay, just go ahead and roll a wisdom saving throw at advantage. It's a DC 16. And you succeed.
-2 is 16, so yay.
Oh, you succeed. Exactly. The DC was 16. And as you resist, you just... As I said, I cannot compel you. Very well. Please recount the incident from beginning to end as best you can. And this is where we can kind of say, like, you can talk about and begin and end where you'd like. We can kind of just fast forward through what you don't want described. We can let you describe what you do.
We came into town, noticed we had to go to a different section of the city to get provisions for our journey, so we used the elevator. About halfway up, one of the auto gnomes loses their power or something, and we're stuck. And then there was sudden jolts while the other one was trying to keep hold. It was losing its grip. So we informed the head magic dude there and came up with a plan to do what we can to save anybody we could. And I managed to get the kids up safely. And I failed at getting the mother of one of the children to the top because my ability failed me from being exhausted from days before. I'm suspecting.
So, buddy, as you begin this journey up with this woman, you've had a tenuous relationship with the Cult of the White Skull and with Ugandu. Your purposes do not perfectly align with Ugandu. You've sought the one that would defeat you in combat. And the White Skull has been a means to an end. But you have often had things asked of you that you knew if you did not do, power would be stripped from you. You'd be punished. And often you're threatened with becoming an enemy of the Cult of the White Skull. As you're floating up, carrying this woman, which is a very, very short amount of time, where is the emblem on your person?
Trying to think of his clothing.
I know he doesn't have a lot.
I would think it would be disguised as other like bones on like a necklace or around his hip as a belt, like along with like rat bones and stuff like that.
Okay. Often when you receive instruction, there's just kind of this heat that emanates from it. Only you can feel it. But it's like... And what you feel is that this woman has a part to play. And it is against Ygondu. Something in the thread of fate that she is pulled along by will lead to hindrance to the patron you serve.
About how high up are we right now?
You're nearly to the top, which means, 90 to 100 feet above the platform.
It's gonna hurt. But on the way up, my wings are just gonna disappear before their actual time is up.
Okay. Roll just a deception check. And what is your passive insight? Oh.
A -1 is what I got. Passive insight's a 10.
10, okay. With that passive insight, and given the fact that she is under the effect of the Zone of Truth, she kind of just looks up to you. Roll a perception check.
Oh, 11.
11. She puts the pen down. Looks you in the eye for a little bit. Looks you up and down. And even at an 11, you notice that she sees your emblem. It's funny because you've elected for the hidden in plain sight method for this, such that it's just part of the bones in your belt. Doesn't look out of place. Looks like it belongs there. But she does take note of it. She looks to the other guards. One's outside the room, one's here at the door, and one's in the corner. She She gestures for one of them to come. And whispers something in their ear. He walks over to the other guard. It's close to him. You hear a blade unsheath. And then... and you see him slump over on the other guard. He drags him over and flops him down on the table. The orb of truth gets knocked over and scatters across the floor. Hi, buddy. I trust you to take care of this.
Yeah.
And Arni, you go after that response, which you understand because you know Draconic. And seeing this, finally catching a detail that's eluded you all this long. Move to cast Hold Person. But counterspell from the corner of the room. And your spell fizzles. Counterspell is automatic on spells level 3 and below. And there in the edge of the room is the lieutenant. Dark-skinned woman.
Okay, I
Black
need to
hair.
clarify something real quick. Counterspell.
It's a reaction.
Are these things visible? I guess.
Oh yes, very much so.
Okay.
There's a blast of arcane twisting energy that moves towards Arni, and he is gathering this electrical energy that is about to reach out to Buddy to grasp him and hold him. And it's just it's dissipated by a blast of arcane energy, just like a bolt. And
After that,
spell
I
fades.
turn to Syranos and still grinning. Said, "Why would I say no?"
And with that counterspell magic, and just that Syranos can't handle that from Buddy at this moment, I would like to, in that moment that counterspell happens and Buddy says that, echo teleport to where the counterspell came from with my sword.
Okay. And you are able to, but what happens next is by the time you get there, you're reacting on your next turn, right?
Yeah.
She has pulled something from a satchel and breaks it open. It's this vial, large vial of black liquid, and slams it down onto the ground. And immediately erupting is this writhing black mass that grows exponentially. And she dives away and begins to dash out the door, which, to be fair, you would get an opportunity attack if you would choose to.
I think I would.
Okay, then go ahead and roll the attack.
Okay.
And this writhing mass reaches out and grabs one guard and the captain and rips them into it. And then it grows larger. There's a muffled scream of, "Ah!" And then they're gone.
They're just gone? Oh.
And then it grows and grows. What's everybody doing? After this
So-
opportunity attack, Syranos, you're right there.
Okay, so that is not what I pushed. I hit the roll button.
Basil's
Roll.
gonna put his hands together and cast Burning Hands on the mass.
Okay, go ahead and roll damage. Or is it a save?
It is a dex save.
Why is it not rolling?
Okay, given the nature of this creature, it automatically fails dex saves.
Okay.
So go ahead and roll damage.
But he's just gonna slowly walk out to the courtyard.
That is 7.
Zenesha was gonna swing at Buddy.
Okay.
That
go
was
ahead and roll
a
the attack,
nat
Zenesha.
1 on my opportunity, so that makes sense.
Okay. And Syranos, you are right here next to this writhing mass that is growing.
Okay.
What are you doing?
I mean, would I be able to move my echo and teleport again within this time
Yeah.
frame?
We're loose on turn order right now. We're not necessarily in initiative.
That's why I wanted to ask. So yeah, I think that's what I would do, is get away from it after I saw it.
Okay. Yep. Which, as a note, your echo is immediately swiped and destroyed after you teleport away.
Yeah.
Zenesha, go ahead and roll damage, buddy. You are slashed in the back by
What
Zenesha's
type of-
halberd.
Okay, she swung with her halberd. Okay.
I think once I teleported back, I'd probably gone back to the same spot and just been like, no, it can't be. Just
So it's just 7.
still in
Right.
denial.
Yeah, 7. And as you go to say that, like this writhing mass is and it grabs and scoops up another guard and pulls them in. At this point, all of the guards have drawn their weapons
Yeah.
and are looking side to side.
Get away from it.
I'd like to Sacred Flame if I could,
Okay.
because we're not in
Go ahead.
initiative yet.
It automatically fails dexterity saves, so just go ahead and roll damage. Basil, what are you doing? And Arni.
I would like to go for a inflict wounds uppercut on Buddy. Just like,
An
you
uppercut.
traitor!
Okay. Go ahead and roll a melee spell attack.
Are there still guards in the building?
There are, but they are being quickly consumed.
It's a
The
16.
Basil-
captain is gone.
It misses.
3 other guards are gone.
Basil's gonna cast suggestion on one of the guards and say, "Get out!"
Okay. They don't choose to resist.
Okay.
they just get, they go running and they get out.
That's awesome.
There's 11 damage from Sacred Flame.
Okay. Radiant damage too, which is
Yes.
it seems you pour this radiant fire down on this entity and it sears this black writhing ooze away at a very, very large margin. It seems to be incredibly effective. But at the same time, another tendril grabs another one of the guards and pulls it in and surges again.
And headed out to the open street courtyard. I'm gonna look back, and even Zenesha would know this phrase. Slathalin ve Jack Wooks Bevi. Which I'll just translate it
Yeah.
for you guys. Said it while grinning. Says, "Fight me if you dare." And I'll draw my sword and wait.
At this point, I imagine everybody would be moving out of the building, whether after Buddy or away from the entity.
I think hearing that, Syranos with like a tear out of his eye. It's just very well. And he's gonna just echo straight towards Buddy.
And Buddy, at this point, he's moving out into the open space.
And
Mm.
these echoes in my veracity, I would like to, if you will allow it, say that he's going to be rapidly trying to do them and from all angles because he's hurt.
Sashem, what were you attempting to do real quick?
I just want to stay outside of that tentacle touch, and I would just like to fight that thing. I figured
Okay.
Zenesha can get Buddy.
But as you say that, you all hear other screams from deeper in the watch post. And then you start to hear it from the building down the street that way, and the building down the street that way. And then you hear the floorboards, the walls, and the ceiling of the building begin to crack and creak as you all move into the street. You're pushed further and further. Buddy, as you go into the street, this mass topples out of the building onto the surface of the street and spills halfway down the cliff. This guard post overlooks the wall that leads over the cliff. And then the other side. You're all surrounded. Being pushed into the street.
I don't think in Syranos' hurt he notices because of his focus on Buddy.
Buddy's just happy for the arena.
And what a horrifying arena it is. And there, let us all go to roll 20.